The horror of living alone. The terrors that lurk in the shadows of a lone house. In today's episode, we take you on a journey to the small town of Hubbardton, Vermont, where a man named John is living alone in a world of depression and sleep problems. But as the nights grow longer and the strange noises start, John begins to suspect that he's not alone in his house. With blurry frontiers between nightmare and reality, he's forced to confront his deepest fears and confront the demons of his past. Will John survive the night? Or will the supernatural entity stalking him claim another victim? Let's find out. The story of John Ethan Thompson. I was living alone in the small town of Hubbardton, Vermont, struggling with depression and insomnia. The winter storm outside only seemed to add to my feeling of isolation as I sat huddled on my couch, staring at the flickering TV screen. I had moved to this quiet town in hopes of finding some solace, but instead it had only intensified my sadness and loneliness. I thought of all the people I had left behind in the city. My family, my friends, my ex-wife. I wondered if they ever thought of me, if they missed me as much as I missed them. I was trying to force myself to sleep when I heard a strange noise coming from outside. It sounded like footsteps or a branch scratching against the window. I held my breath and listened, trying to figure out where the noise was coming from. But as I sat there in the silence, the sound seemed to grow louder and more ominous. I nervously got up from the couch and crept towards the window, peering out into the darkness. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel something was out there, watching me. Panicked, I grabbed my phone and tried to call for help, or anyone who could help me escape this cycle of loneliness and depression. But as I scrolled through my contacts, I realized I had no one to call. I was completely alone, with no one to turn to in my time of need. As the night wore on, the strange noises continued. I was certain that someone or something was trying to get into the house. I locked all the doors and windows and hid in the basement, trembling with fear. But the creature, or whatever it was, seemed to be getting closer. I could hear the creature shuffling around outside and the sound of a door opening. I was somehow ready to leave the miserable existence I had been leading. My heart pounded in my chest as I listened to the creature's footsteps echoing through the house. But I knew I had no way to escape and no idea where to go. I was completely alone, with no one to turn to for help. As the creature approached the basement door, I simply gave up hope of living. I closed my eyes and waited for the nightmare to end, expecting the worst. I lay there, waiting for my demise, and began to think about all the things I had done wrong in my life. I should have gone to college so I could get a better job. I should have tried to save my marriage. I should have done so many things differently. But instead, I had given up. I was a failure. I was a disappointment to my family and friends. I had let them all down. I was a coward and a weakling, and now I was going to die alone and afraid without ever having achieved anything. Suddenly, the door opened, and the creature entered the room. It loomed over me, its shadow darkening the room as I waited for the end to come. I took a deep breath and prepared for the worst, hoping that death would be quick. But then, something unexpected happened. The creature leaned down and began to speak to me. It spoke in a strange and alien voice, but I could understand every word it said. "I know who you are," the creature said. "I know what you've done." "How do you know who I am?" I replied, frightened and confused. "I know many things," the creature said. "I know you're a good man who has been through many trials. I know you have lost a lot and you feel as though you have nothing left." "But I don't understand," I said. "What do you want from me?" "I want you to forgive yourself," the creature said. "I want you to let go of your guilt and your shame. You are not responsible for the death of your daughter Lily, John. It was a tragic accident, and it was not your fault." My heart ached at the mention of Lily. My heart ached at the mention of Lily's name. I had never been able to forgive myself for the car accident that had taken her life, and I had carried the weight of that guilt with me every day since. "But I was driving the car," I said. "But I was driving the car," I said, my voice choked with emotion. "I should have been able to save her. I should have done something." "You did everything you could," the creature said, its voice softening. "But sometimes, no matter how hard we try, we cannot change the course of fate. You need to let go of the past, John, and move on with your life. It is the only way you will ever find peace." I looked up at the creature, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a glimmer of hope. Could it be true? Could I really let go of the past and find a way to forgive myself? "You must realize that you are not alone. You must not give up hope," the creature said. "You have a lot to live for, and many people who care about you." As the night passed, the creature began to fade away until it was no longer visible. The next morning, I awoke to see the sun shining brightly through the curtains. I sat in bed and rubbed my eyes, unsure if I had imagined the creature or if it had really happened. I got out of bed and went downstairs to make myself a cup of coffee. But as I poured the hot water into the cup, it spilled all over my hand, scalding my skin. I gasped in pain and dropped the cup, shattering it on the floor. Startled, I looked up and saw the creature standing in the doorway. I stared at it in horror, unable to move. The creature walked towards me and touched my face gently with its hand. I closed my eyes and fell to the floor, exhausted. As I lay there in the darkness, I began to cry. I stayed in bed all day. I felt too weak to move, and my body was racked with pain. All I could do was lie there and think about the creature. I remembered how it touched my face so gently and tenderly. It felt like my mother's hand, soft and caring. But I was too afraid to think about it anymore. I didn't want to remember the things the creature had said to me. I wanted to forget about it, to pretend that it had never happened. Thanks for watching Living Alone on 5 Minute Horror. We hope you enjoyed this terrifying tale of isolation. If you're still in the mood for more chills and thrills, be sure to stay tuned for our next video, which is all about acrophobia, the fear of heights. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on all our latest horror stories. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment to let us know what you thought. We appreciate your support, and we can't wait to bring you more spine-tingling tales of terror in the future. We'll see you then.